African endemic countries and 23 non-endemic countries worldwide. Monkeypox is a viral disease transmitted from animals to human that is caused by monkeypox virus, and research shows that 3 to 6% of the people succumb to the disease. Signs and symptoms include fever, rash, intense headache, swelling of the lymph nodes, among others, and the most vulnerable groups are children and individuals with low immunity. Zahara Abigaba, UBC News.
And as the country waits for President Yoweri Museveni's State of the Nation address slated for tomorrow, and also the official opening of the second session of the 11th Parliament, legislators want his address to focus majorly on the recovery of the economy. They think appointment of the central bank governor is long overdue because the position has a bigger influence on the economy of the country.
It is 5 months since the central bank governor job fell vacant following the death of Emmanuel Tumsime Mutebire. Now legislators think appointment on the position is long overdue because it has a bearing on the country's economy. They want the president to consider this as he addresses the country tomorrow in his State of the Nation address.
There is no one to control this kind of inflation, and maybe this is the time for him to appoint the Governor Bank of Uganda so that he can fight and stabilize the economy.
A functional presidency running a country without a governor for the central bank. And then you say you have seriousness towards the economy. Who is supposed to stabilize this economy if the central bank has no governor?
According to Bank of Uganda, the annual headline and core inflation rose to 6.3% and 5.1% in May this year, from 2.7% and 2.3% in January, respectively. Weakening of the Uganda shilling against the US dollar, together with commodity prices, have worsened the inflation outlook since April this year. Deputy Governor Bank of Uganda Michael Ating Ego told journalists last week that inflation is projected to peak in the second quarter of 2023 before gradually declining to stabilize in the midterm target of 5% by mid-2024.
And however much you tell people about the war in Ukraine and Russia, they really don't appreciate that even when they're talking about the war in Ukraine and Russia, the price for matoke, the price for beans, it has affected everything. So I think this is where the country needs clear information about where we are heading as a country, because if this inflation is not controlled, I don't know what we are going to do.
The economy, we would expect him to tell us about the levels of inflation and the growth levels of the economy. I would expect him to announce serious budget cuts in terms of, ministerial or cabinet downsizing.
They also expect the president to tackle on issues of security. The president will also officially open the second session of the 11th Parliament tomorrow, 7th June. Shamim Naiga and Gloria Gutabenji, UBC News.
And former Forum for Democratic Change FDC President Dr. Kizza Besigye has been released on bail after paying 3 million shillings as directed by the High Court. After his release, Besigye was whisked off from Central Police Station to an unknown location by security authorities where he had gone to pick his car. Besigye's release follows a recent application challenging Magistrate Sienna Womjisha's orders to pay 30 million shillings to be released on bail.
And the peruse of the authorities. The submissions of the parties on whether the conditions were equitable, fair and just in the circumstances. The applicant in this case was charged with the offence of incitement to violence, quoted section 51(1)(b) of the Penal Code Act, where the maximum term of imprisonment is set at 3 years. The offence does not attract a very severe punishment. I have also considered that if the court were to impose a fine as a punishment, then it would apply the Law Revision, Fines and Other Financial Amounts in Criminal Matters Act of 2008, which in section 3 stipulates as follows, quote, where a fine is prescribed in relation to a term of imprisonment, The ratio of the fine to imprisonment shall be 2 currency points to each month of imprisonment. End of quote. However, taking all the circumstances of the case into consideration, as it is my considered opinion that the Land Trial Magistrate exercised her discretion with the material irregularity when she set the bail amount at 30 million shillings. This condition was manifestly harsh and excessive. In the result, the amount set for bail in this matter should be adjusted. Bail terms or conditions must not be so high as to be out of reach or appear punitive. They should not be so low as to be outrageous or ridiculous.
Relatedly, FDC has tasked the Chief Justice Alfonso Wenyedolo to clarify on that 30 million cash bail the Buganda Road Magistrates Court had asked Dr. Kizza Besigye to pay in order to be granted bail. Dr. Besigye was arrested demonstrating against skyrocketing price commodities.
The Buganda Road Court under Justice Siena Owomogisha ordered the former FDC President Dr. Kizza Besigye to pay shillings 30 million cash bail, which him and his lawyers challenged and appealed to High Court.
30 million, even after explaining to her the circumstances and the kind of mistreatment he has been subjected to, that for all this long he has not been working. He has been in running battles with the police. His movements had been curtailed at home. Actually, he's not working. He has not been allowed even to get out of his home. You impose such outrageous sums in cash bail.
High Court has ruled and the amount has been reduced to 3 million.
And we do appreciate what the court has decided, because bringing it down from 30 million to 3 million, it is some significant reduction we would wish to recognize.
FDC Deputy Spokesperson John Chikonyogo wants the Chief Justice to clarify the cash bail asked between the two courts.
So as freedom fighters, which FDC is, we demand that the Chief Justice comes clean on this. He should explain it to the people of Uganda.
Chikonyogo says the 30 million cash bail was an abuse of human rights entitled to everyone in the Constitution of Uganda, Article 29, Clause 1D.
The Constitution stipulates that I have a right to demonstrate. It's in our Constitution. You can't make me pay 3 million because I want to enjoy my right to demonstrate.
Meanwhile, FDC has condemned the proposal made by the Parliament Committee on Budget to allocate increase of allowance and salaries of legislators.
So we have a serious problem in the country with our economy, but all of us are focusing on small things. Even I wonder what's wrong with our MPs. Instead of trying to fix the economy, they are trying to fix the price, the money in their pocket to buy fuel. And I'm sure in 3 months' time, that money will not even be enough to buy the fuel they are buying today. So at the end of the day, maybe they will seek for another increment.
The party has advised members of parliament to fix the money intended to be put on their allowance to help lower people that are suffering. Jane Nyuramjia, Andrew Sebira, UBC News.
Now, Uganda police spokesperson Fred Enanga is among the 81 people confirmed to receive medals during this year's Heroes Day celebrations on Thursday this week. State Minister for Economic Monitoring Peter Ogwang told the media in Kampala that the award is a sign of good performance.
The medal is to be awarded by His Excellency the President in line with Section 3 of the National Honors and Awards Act 21, 2001, 81 in number. Number 2, Mr. Adoko Judy, Golden Jubilee. Mr. Adoko is the Executive Secretary of Lango Cultural Foundation. The other one is Mr. Enanga Fred, Golden Jubilee. He headed the Economic Crimes Department and worked as a CID Commander KMP, Commander Land Protection Police Unit, Commander CID Administration and Training, among others. He demonstrated high professionalism standards in criminal investigations, including large-scale corporate fraud of about 12 billion shillings and procurement.
All right, meanwhile, police in Kasanda district have arrested Senkai Yahaya, Community Development Officer, for extortion. Police spokesperson Fred Enanga told a weekly media brief that Senkai extorted 50,000 shillings per head to register people, promising them enrollment in the parish development model.
The mixed understandings about the recently government-launched parish development model has left Ugandans trapped by conmen. The public is hoodwinked with special arrangements in this development-oriented program.
After he was soliciting bribes from 10 out of 11 groups which were making arrangements, for sensitization in preparation for the launch of the Parish Development Model Program.
Police in Kasanda district arrested the district community development officer, Senkai Yahaya, for extorting money from 10 groups after demanding that each pay 50,000 shillings for special consideration.
Members were not aware of the fact that these are free services and they are not supposed to be abused or paid for. So they negotiated from 100 to 50,000, and the 10 of the groups paid a total of 500,000 to these three. One group of Chabayima Hope disabled farmers rejected the idea of paying 50,000 after consulting other sub-counties, and they noticed that the activity was free of charge.
In Kabalagala, a Kampala suburb, police arrested Nakaziba Oliver over pornography trading and recruitment of young adults into sexual-related offences. 4 have been arrested in connection to this crime and several computers confiscated as exhibits.
Out a forensic analysis to find out how many users have been logged onto her account, and because she was inviting members into having private chats with these young girls and children, and then they would do, the chats would go private into graphic images and pornographic acts, exposing nudity, erotic pictures and dances which were captured on video and shared. It was one of the most active pornographic platforms in Kampala, so for now it has been shut down pending completion of inquiries.
Other isolated cases police have reviewed in the last week's crime report indicate how young children in primary schools engage in burning of schools. 2 schools of Young Elite Primary School in Kasokoso and Junior School in Nabingo were touched by primary 4 kids.
Tuama, Amina Dabu, a 16-year P7 pupil of Young Elite School, Kasokoso, packed his belongings, school books, items, and returned home and told the parents that he was no longer interested in school. So they instead chased him and forced him to go back to school. Now, when he reached school, he had a matchbox. Nobody checked him because this school in Kasokoso doesn't have a fence. It has a boarding section where children stray out anyhow. So This child accesses school, then with the use of a matchbox, he lit his mattress, books on fire, which started spreading.
The last week's crime report has also showed the escalating attacks on fuel stations, and investigations link these attacks to workers.
Our State Minister for Planning, Amos Lugolobi, has refuted allegations that the current economic debacle is as a result of lack of a substantive and active central bank governor. Minister Lugolobi told the media that the president should be given ample time to get a holder of such a position.
It is almost 5 months since the Governor Bank of Uganda, Professor Emmanuel Tumusiime Mutebile, died. This has also left around discussions, with others suggesting that it has been a long time since the post fell vacant to be filled.
Were the timeline spelled out in the law? I don't think so. The law simply says there will be a governor, Bank of Uganda, and if I have an acting governor, the job is done for the time being.
Although the appointment of the Governor Bank of Uganda is a prerogative of the President, Minister Amos Lugolobi urges that the President largely has the mandate.
This is a very sensitive position. He must be still looking around for the right person to take that job. It takes time to identify such a person. It's not easy. You are talking about an institution that prints money, that it is in charge of our entire monetary policy. It's a sensitive position, so you just don't wake up and say X, Y, and Z, go and become the Governor, Bank of Uganda. When you have a deputy governor, they are still working, you take your time.
But a section of public blame government for the current commodity spikes, caused partly by part of the delay.
Socially, they will definitely demand, and this is where we are now. The performance of businesses get affected, so people look at the government as their point of last resort to rescue them. But the challenge is our revenues have been affected. We have been borrowing to restore the economy. We have created funds like the SME Recovery Fund to help entrepreneurs recover from the COVID crisis.
For quite a long time, there has been a heated debate, with many castigating government for overspending part of its already skeleton revenue to a ballooned parliament opposed to the public priorities.
Yeah, but are you going to wake up and say that I've reduced the number of MPs because we have had this crisis? You cannot do that without amending the Constitution. It's a long process that you have to undertake. And in any case, if you reduce them, that amount of money, is it enough to meet the subsidies that are required?
Uganda has also backed at those intending to sabotage the crude oil pipeline construction project.
Remember when we are constructing Bujagali to help us out of the power shortages in this country, the load shedding, there were people who rose up to say that, these waterfalls are getting extinguished, such people will always be there. We all don't have to think alike. That's what they think. But there are those others like us who think very positively about evacuating the oil that we need to those jurisdictions where they need to process it.
This Tuesday, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni will address the nation in what is always referred to as the State of the Nation address, and through the mirrors, the country's economic performance in the financial year ending will top his address. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
And climate change impacts everyone, non-governmental organizations alike. And that's why the North Indian Cultural Association, NICA, has joined other organizations across the globe to address climate change. North Indian Cultural Association wants more climate action from government through a tree planting campaign to mark this year's World Environmental Day.
This year's World Environmental Day celebrations come with the planet facing multiple crises, from climate change to loss of biodiversity and an increase in carbon emission. North Indian Cultural Association (NICA) introduced a tree planting campaign to accelerate climate action as a measure that will help conserve the environment. NICA plans to take on this tree plantation project as one of their future contributions as they give back to the community and Uganda as a whole.
This year, the day comes with the planet forcing multiple crises from climate change to the loss of diversity and an increase in carbon emission. Slogan of this year is Only One Earth, focuses on living sustainably in harmony with nature. NICA, understand that all resources of nature must be conserved, be it forest to ocean, soil to air, for the present and better future of the globe. As a part of the conserving nature's resources, NICA has initiated this year the tree plantation project, which will be continued in future every year too. We hope so.
They, however, call upon Ugandans and encourage worldwide awareness and action to protect the environment.
Anil Yadav from NICA, plant a tree and save the earth.
2022 marks the 49th time of World Environment Day, which has been celebrated and established following the UN Conference on the Human Environment in Stockholm in 1972 and is celebrated annually on 5th June, with a different country hosting it each year. Sandra Kahunde, Vincent Wamundu, UBC News.
And the youth have been called upon to seek for God's guidance and intercession if they are to overcome the current challenges. This call has been made by Engineer Mario Garcia Olvera, the International President for Gospel Businessmen's Fellowship International and Ladies of Fellowship.
The 2 days retreat for the Full Gospel Businessmen's Fellowship International and Ladies of Fellowship on the theme Revival by Faith and Action is for now has ended. The retreat attracted a cross-section of chapter leaders from Uganda and beyond.
We share the gospel. We share the gospel in workplaces. Wherever we work, wherever we have our occupations, wherever we derive our livelihood, that is our pulpit, We don't have churches like religious organizations have. For us, our offices, our homes, wherever we work from, that is our pulpit. And wherever we are, we share the gospel.
The event has been graced by their international president, Engineer Mario Garcia Olvera.
I can feel, I can see the prosperity around, and I think you are in good times to make it happen here. The revival, the spiritual revival, will help a lot in taking some ways of thinking about in the hearts people that will help to create a very healthy society.
They were worried about the continued absence of youth from the gospel.
We need to create environments for attract the youngsters, the youth. They're the following generation. So us in the fellowship, we are creating strategies to bring that connect the next generation to our call to what the fellowship do worldwide. But it's very important to bring that young people that are very hard and sometimes, but I think with the values that we have, those young people will arrive and do something very nice.
But still to come, the UNBS warns on increase of aflatoxins in food crops. Disabled rider Omar Bakashaba defying the odds. And Uganda cranes return ready for Niger.
Have waka, you pass the ice through me about my waka. Now come and see for yourself, see my waka. that I got with Momo Nyabo. Jangola we waka, look at you waka, see my waka that I got with Momo Nyabo.
Show them waka with MTN Momo Nyabo. Simply deposit 20K or more on your mobile money for a chance to win 3 Toyota Succeeds and money to 2,000 lucky winners every week. We're giving away 24 cars and over 2 billion shillings of mobile money.
Football packages, great entertainment, sports, the local content, telenovela, the movies. There is something for everybody. Go TV, this is where great stories live.
Get the best entertainment for any budget. With GoTV, you will have great entertainment for as little as 13,000 Uganda shillings per month. GoTV, great stories, Zidiwano. GoTV Uganda, love it.
Get connected today with the My Airtel 4G smartphone and enjoy free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 Uganda shillings. That's free 2 GB for the first month and free 1 GB for the next 11 months at only Uganda shillings with free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 shillings, making the effective price of the 4G phone 163,500 shillings only. Airtel, the smartphone network.
The Oil and Gas Moment, brought to you by Petroleum Authority of Uganda, creating lasting value in Uganda's oil journey. In order to be contracted to supply goods and services for oil activities in Uganda, you must register on the National Suppliers Database. Between 2017 and 2021, close to 400 Ugandan entities were awarded various contracts to supply goods and services to the sector.
Tech Lab Limited is a geosciences company that has been offering geotechnical and geophysical investigation services to the East African market since its inception in 2002. Our experience working with Ama Energy has been a pleasurable one. The seismic surveys have always been on our radar, and when this opportunity came up, we put together a winning bid and became the first Ugandan company to provide seismic services under an oil and gas contract in Uganda.
Registration on the National Suppliers Database is free. Visit www.pau.go.ug, creating lasting value in Uganda's oil journey.
Welcome back. You are still watching News Tonight. Now, the Deputy Executive Director, Uganda National Bureau of Standards, Patricia Bagane, has advised the public to harvest ripe food crops to overcome the dangers of aflatoxins. Here he was addressing the media ahead of the World Food Day celebrations.
Executive Director, Uganda National Bureau of Standards, Patricia Bagane, has noted an increase of aflatoxins in food crops, hence the need for intervention. There is need to create awareness on the risks of aflatoxins to the public for healthy food consumption.
This therefore calls for joint effort from every stakeholder: farmers, transporters, traders, manufacturers, the civil society organizations, the private sector, regulators such as ourselves, and the consumers to join the fight against high aflatoxin levels in food. The efforts also contribute to the attainment of the National Development Plan 3, the goal to increase household incomes and improve quality of life.
Farmers must harvest dry food crops and avoid storing food on the floor.
Farmers should adopt good agricultural practices that ensure the right moisture content in food is available to eliminate high aflatoxin levels. They need to ensure that food crops are harvested when dry. To avoid storing food before thoroughly drying it, dry food crops on tarpaulins, canvases, mats or cribs, anything that will avoid putting it directly on the ground. Dry crops using improved technologies that reduce the drying time. The longer you take, the more chances are of contamination taking place. Properly cover harvested food during rainy seasons to keep it away from moisture. Avoid storing harvested food on the floor because they get damp and the moisture provides a conducive environment for molds.
Transporters are required to offload the produce as soon as possible to prevent contamination of food. Sharon Muber and Sodat Kaye, UBC News.
And Uganda's Civil Aviation Authority has concluded its search and rescue sensitization training in Eastern region. According to Moses Wambomba from Air Traffic Management Department of Civil Aviation Authority, search and rescue sensitization of locals in different areas will equip the community members to rescue plane occupants in case of accidents.
Uganda Civil Aviation Authority is sensitizing security officers, medical teams and communities on how to approach, search and rescue plane occupants in case of air accident. Moses Wabomba, who represented the manager Air Traffic Management Department of Civil Aviation Authority during sensitization training in Eastern Uganda, said Ugandans have to play a positive role in rescuing planes occupants.
Search and rescue service entails locating an aircraft in distress and rescuing its occupants, removing them from danger up to the point where they are safe. And that is the scope of the search and rescue service. So because this exercise involves so many stakeholders, including the military, including the police, community leaders, district leadership, and so on, we have to make sure that every stakeholder involved in this search and rescue system is sensitized and continually reminded of their role they play in locating the aircraft and making sure that the occupants are taken from danger up to a place of safety.
In December last year, a female pilot survived after being rescued by a community member. Civil Aviation Authority has observed that in most plane accidents, the locals prioritize viewing the aircraft than rescuing the occupants. Process Alwango from Air Traffic Management, Civil Aviation Authority, urges community members to engage police and local leadership in case of an aircraft accident.
How would you recognize an emergency? But if you see somebody that is a little bit strange, engines are making strange noises, like very loud. They're supposed to be a little cooler, like a smooth car. But if it is very loud, most likely it's going to have an accident. We might not know, but you will have known. DPC here is the first point of contact.
The training was conducted in Soroti, Ngora and Palisa district respectively. Ngora district chairperson Odong Mike Lasio requested Civil Aviation Authority to revamp the airfield that belonged to Ngora Fred Cup Hospital in Ngora district to create opportunities for those that may need to train as pilots, like the case with Soroti Flying School.
Ngora is blessed to have an airfield that belongs to Ngora Fred Cup Hospital, which is owned by Church of Uganda. It used to be a very active airfield. Unfortunately, during insurgency, so I asked to partner with the Ngora Fredika Hospital so that it can be revamped.
The search and rescue initiative aimed at equipping Ugandans with skills to locate aircraft, rescue occupants, and save their lives. Sharon Muber, Yega Muhammad, UBC News.
Meanwhile, scientists and researchers at the National Agricultural Research Organization (NARO) have appealed to the National Biosafety Committee for guidelines on distributing biotechnology products like bananas to the farmers. Scientists claim their products contain nutritious components, but lack of regulatory framework hinders distribution of products to farmers.
Scientists at the National Agriculture and Research Organization have invented pro-vitamin A-rich bananas to tap into Western region large quantity production of matoke. The coordinator for Uganda Biotechnology and Biosafety Consortium at the National Council for Science and Technology says research shows that most children and expectant mothers remain malnourished
because of poor nutrition, feeding on the same food with limited nutrients. So scientists are working on research, who have done research to improve nutrition of bananas, especially to add vitamin A, which is a very, very vital nutrient for healthy growth of children. you see when you take children for immunization, they inject that drop of vitamin. That vitamin has been imported into the country because people are not balancing the diet.
At a training for Agriculture Extension Services, district production officers and selected banana farmers from Western region, the new vitamin A bananas boost body immunity.
Chiga, Batoro, Banyoro, who eat bananas that are improved with vitamin A, the way you have seen them looking yellow, chipapari bananas, they will have more healthy children, they will have better nutrition, and we shall have a healthy generation. People will have better eyesight.
Research is complete. What remains is doing tests on feeding and trials, the texture and aroma of the food.
As the scientists have said, they have applied to the National Biosafety Committee, and the Biosafety Committee is still reluctant to give them a go-ahead to allow a few volunteers. And if they allowed volunteers, I would be ready to volunteer to test this food because it really looks nutritious. It's like orange fresh sweet potato. Now we have orange fresh banana.
Bananas are composed of 90% carbohydrates and a staple food for most communities in the country.
So we don't do research that is just going to be shown. So I'll give an example. If let's say at a later stage when these bananas are released to the farming community, I know I have my nakitembe with high vitamin A. That's a tip. I harvest my bunch. My family has a bunch of vitamin A increase. Now I have the cedar stem that remains in the garden. I can make a choice. Maybe I have my income increases.
And with the re-emergence of COVID-19 in the country, KCCA and the leadership of Nakawa Market have started a mobile checkup of vendors within the market. This in a 5-month awareness campaign.
The Ministry of Public Health has, through KCCA and the leadership of Nakawa Market, stated a mobile checkup and awareness plan to discover the situation of COVID-19 among the people of Nakawa Market. The chairman of Nakawa Market, Mudasi Joel, says at least over 20,000 vendors and non-market vendors have been vaccinated.
Nakawa Market, we are well equipped. We still have and we maintain the hand washing positions at each and every entry point of the market. So I urge all my vendors, whenever you see those doctors down there, please be checked.
A medical worker with the COVID-19 surveillance team in KCCA, Akankwasa Hamson, says that the team has confirmed one positive COVID-19 case.
So far, currently, we have got only one person with COVID, who is COVID positive.
Challenges they have faced in the campaign include negative response from some vendors and lack of proper sensitization about the pandemic. Owori Ian, UBC News.
Be alert. Do not share your Airtel Money PIN number with anyone. Airtel Uganda employees will never ask for your Airtel Money PIN number on call, SMS, or by email. All SIM card registrations, SIM card verifications, or SIM swaps are done at clearly branded Airtel shops and not on phone. To report any fraudulent activity, please call 100 immediately. The official calling number for Airtel promotions is 0200 100 100. Stay alert on Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Water gives life. Water is life. But not all water is created equal. Refresh yourself with the new quality Nirvana packaged drinking water and fuel you and your passion to go further in life. Visit a shop near you and grab a 250 ml at 500 shillings, 500 ml at 1,000 shillings, 1.5 liters at 2,000 shillings, or the 20-liter jumbo bottle at 19,000 shillings. Nirvana is a product of Crown Beverages Limited, the makers of Pepsi products.
The Kabaka Birthday Run 2022 is back on Sunday, 3rd July 2022 at Lubiri Mengo. This year, the run will be physical and will be flagged off by Sabasaja Kabaka at 7 a.m. Come out in large numbers once again to Lubiri Mengo. Run for a cause to fight and end HIV by 2030. Buy your ticket today at 15,000 Uganda shillings from Airtel shops at Tobani Center, New Taxi Park, ShopRite Building, Benchwanka Street, Majestic Brands Office at Bulange Mengo. You can also buy your ticket using Airtel Money. Dial *185*5#. Select Payments, select Kabaka Run, and follow the prompts to complete the payment. Kabaka Birthday Run 2022 is brought to you by UNAID, CBS, BBS, and Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back. Now in sports news, having one arm is no problem. Meet Omar Bakashaba, a one-arm rider racing against the abled. He looks at representing the country at international level.
A one-arm cyclist competing with the abled is what was on people's minds as they looked on to see Bakashaba Umar race through the hurdles to finishing line. Umar was born a normal child but later had an accident that required amputation. He later moved from Misinjiro to Kampala, and for his first job he had to walk distances. A well-wisher bought him a simple bike which opened up his doors to excellency.
Twavuga meters 10 nate satukayo.
My cycling journey started with 100 meters. Of course, I couldn't reach the finishing line. I wasn't used to riding, but seeing the abled ride gave me great joy. I kept on pushing to improve.
An everyday ride to work, later fell in love with his bike, and seeing cyclists compete on streets made him improve skill and speed. Currently, Bakashaba Umar features on the national cycling team.
Riding with one hand is not easy. I can't count how many times I have fallen down. My day-to-day job, I'm a cleaner. I hope to earn something out of cycling.
We caught up with Umar competing with the abled, what they termed as trials for upcoming Tour de Uganda qualifiers. To Umar, cycling through the streets of Kampala is a dream come true. Eyes are on the Tour de France Championship this year, where he can compete in the qualifiers under the paracycling competitions. Uganda Cycling Association boasts of having not only the disabled, but also the elderly competing.
And after defeat to Algeria, Uganda Cranes has returned safely. On arrival at Entebbe International Airport, the team proceeded to camp in mind of the Wednesday game at St. Mary's Stadium in Chitende. Cranes will host Niger this Wednesday in what many refer to as a must-win game. Group mates, Tanzania and Algeria will equally be playing to shape the group. Uganda lost to Algeria 2-0, while Tanzania shared points with Niger.
about my waka. Now come and see for yourself, see my waka that I got with Momo Nyabo.
Simply deposit 20K or more on your mobile money for a chance to win 3 Toyota Succeeds and money to 2,000 lucky winners every week. We're giving away 24 cars and over 2 billion shillings of mobile money.
And now let's take a look at the top stories tonight. With the COVID-19 update, 35 cases reported, the public warned on SOPs. Dr. Kizza Besigye released on 3 million cash bail after High Court ruling. While police arrest Kasanda district officer over parish development model extortion. And Umar Bakashaba to represent Uganda at international level. That does it for now. We do return at 10 o'clock with more details. I am Rhodah Ngonzi, on sign language, Elizabeth Nakakoni. Good evening.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite shows.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment